So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a statement describing what happened. You all have the affidavit, I guess, right? Everybody's seen the affidavit? I'm going to read a statement, and then I'm going to run through, in my own words, chronology of events, what happened, and talk about everybody who was involved in that. So this is just a recap from both affidavits. Juvenile first came to police attention after drawing disturbing images of his school and expressing a fascination with mass shootings. From this point on, police continuously met with the juvenile and his family, offering them to connect the family with resources and services. Months later, he was suspended for researching mass shootings on a school-issued computer. And when he returned, the school increased security. Returned from the suspension, the school increased security, and the police maintained contact with the family. On May 11, a family member saw the juvenile with a live bullet. He claimed his mother bought him the bullet and tactical gear. The next day, the family member found loaded magazines and an improvised explosive device and immediately contacted police. The student arrived at Rhodes Middle School wearing a mask, tactical gear, but left shortly thereafter. Extra officers were then placed on the campus. Within hours of the tip, police got a warrant, SAPD got a warrant, and located the juvenile before anyone was harmed. So the latest status: the juvenile's mother, Ashley Pardo, had been contacted previously by police, the school, and CPS. She appeared to be dismissive and unconcerned with her son's behavior. Her behavior is not only dangerous, it's abhorrent, especially as a parent. Ashley Pardo has been released on bond. The juvenile remains in custody at the Bexar County Juvenile Detention Facility pending a judge's decision. We can't release more information about the juvenile at this time, simply because the juvenile is a juvenile. This case is being closely monitored by our new Behavioral Threat Assessment Group, or BTAG. Agencies from across the city, including SAPD and the Southwest Texas Fusion Center, are working together to intervene before a tragedy occurs. No matter how many plans or resources we have, the best form of prevention is speaking up. This case started with a tip, and we take every tip seriously. Most attackers show warning signs: obsessive interest in past violence, graphic fantasies, weapons stockpiling, or violent writings. These signs must be reported. That's exactly what happened on Monday. A family member spoke up, and within hours, law enforcement responded, implemented safety plans, and took action. That speed reflects our deep coordination and commitment to public safety. This is the first time someone has been charged with terrorism in Bexar County. This relatively new law focuses on stopping violence stopping violence during the planning phase. Next steps: both juvenile and his mother will have their day in court. We'll continue to work with school officials and our partners to protect the community. Please continue to report suspicious behavior. And let me now go over with, in chronological order, how this all broke down. So in October, we had a class for CPS that kind of broke down behavior that would be indicative of something that would lead to violence. So they were involved with this family They noticed things of that nature when dealing with the family, and they reported it to us. So in January, the juvenile was found in school drawing violent pictures. And then in April, he was found researching the mass shooting from Australia on the school computer. He was suspended, and then that same day, he attempted suicide. Then in May, he was back on campus. He was also found hitting a live bullet with a hammer at a relative's house. That relative reported that. And he reported that to that individual, that his mother bought him the bullet along with tactical gear. On Monday, one of the witnesses, or the witness, implicated the mother as being involved in her son's activity. And on that same day, the mother was arrested. Pardo was arrested. And as I said, she remains in custody right now, pending some matters before she's able to bond out. So I want to thank SAISD Chief Johnny Reyes and Sergeant Michael Dillway for their help in resolving this issue. SAFD Arson played a role in this also. Our Special Victims Unit, our BTAG group, the FBI also assisted us, and Fusion as well. Now, this case is still under investigation, so beyond what you already know from the affidavit and what I told you, I'm not going to answer very many questions here because, as I said, the case is still under investigation. So if you have any questions that kind of are general in nature, I'll be happy to answer them. But otherwise, thank you for being here, and thanks for covering this.
Can you talk about the terrorism charge? Is it the first in Bexar County and San Antonio? How did it get to this point, and what qualifies it to be this charge for both aiding and commission of terrorism as well as terrorism?
Well, the simple fact that the young man was apparently planning some act of violence based on the things that we found out he was doing, and the mother for assisting him in obtaining, we don't know if he was armed when he showed up at the school in tactical gear and a mask. So he may well have been, but we don't know that right now. But the mother assisted him in buying that tactical gear for him and bought ammunition, provided him with magazines and ammunition to load those magazines up. So that's why the charge of terrorism, and yes, it's the first time that law was became, I think it was 1923. I think it was 2023 when that law came into being, and so that's why they were charged, for aiding and for planning.
We don't know if he was armed when he went into school. When he was found off campus, did he have any weapons, or did he have access to weapons that y'all are aware of?
I don't know that he did or not right now.
Chief, I'm a former teacher and counselor, so I understand that school districts may have certain limitations that they have to follow with student protocols and infractions and schools violations. But it seems a red flag the child was let back into the school so quickly after these, reports. Can you comment on that? And if the judge decides the child goes back in school, what are your next steps?
Well, as I mentioned, we reacted pretty quickly, very quickly, as we gathered that information, and the arrest was made. Both arrests were made in a very timely way, which was necessary to make sure that we prevented anything from happening. What was the other part of your question?
Yeah, the other thing was that I was concerned about too is the mother clearly knew about this. I mean, now she's being charged, but still, it's just surprising to me that you guys finally it took so long to get this child out of the school.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. There were some very disturbing things that were found inside the mother's house, that child's house, which also kind of was an indication to us that we needed to move very quickly. So,
Chief, what are the chances the minor are in contact with white supremacists?
say that again for me.
What are the chances of the minor are in contact with white supremacist groups?
What was his contact with other groups?
Yeah, what are the chances if he was in contact with white groups?
He was charged. You asked me what he was charged with?
No.
Contact with white supremacist groups? Has he been linked to white supremacy groups?
I know there was some information about that. I don't know how closely he was linked to white supremacy groups. There were some indications that there were Nazi swastikas and things like that that were found in the home.
Do we know how long he was on the run after showing up to campus and leaving?
No.
Do we know what the punishment
But
was?
we do. I just don't know the answer to the question.
Got it. Thanks for the clarification. Do we know what his punishment was in April when he was suspended for researching a mass shooting on a school-issued computer? He was back on campus May 8th. Is there a reason for that? Is that just because of a SAISD policy or?
Well, I mean, that's something that you'd have to check with the superintendent at SAISD. I don't know the answer to that
Do
question.
you know if SAISD is available to answer?
I don't know if the chief is able to answer that.
I can simply tell you that, I can simply say this, and again, because this is an active investigation, we're very cautious on what we are releasing. However, because of the fact that he was researching this material on a district device, on school district campus, he did serve his time in an alternative center. Once he's done with that, by every legal right, he shall be returned to his home campus, and that's exactly what took place.
Do you know what that policy is? Is it 2 weeks or is it to fall under just inappropriate subjects?
You know that each one of the cases is independent, and it's based on the situation. The timelines are done by the hearing officer of the district and the parents, and then other members of our staff to determine that.
Did security change when he returned back to campus?
I'm sorry?
Did security change when he returned back to campus?
Not so much change. We're aware. And again, through close collaboration with SAPD and Chief McManus's team, we're aware and we know what's going on. So again, when we were alerted by SAPD of some concerning factors, that's when we press the red button and start pushing further.
Anything you say to concerned parents that wished he was never allowed back on campus after the stuff in October with CPS, January, the drawings with titled Suicide Route and a map of the school, and then again in April researching a mass shooting?
Again, I mean, I can understand the parents' concerns. However, that is closely monitored. But again, the student still has a right to be in school. Unless it poses that an immediate threat, we have to follow the rules that govern that student being allowed in campus. But they are monitored and they are closely watched. And again, it is all our jobs, right? Safety belongs to all of us. We need the help of parents. Parents need to let us know. And we have, we have our anonymous reporting system that allows anybody to go in to report not just a crime, anything, something of concern that we can immediately, put our resources in place so that we can get ahead of that.
Just let me close out with this, that, as we developed information throughout the whole progression of this matter, we took the appropriate steps, the appropriate partners were involved in it, and we ended without anyone being hurt. And now it's up to the courts to decide what will happen going forward. But I'm very pleased with the way this was investigated and the way we worked with our local and federal partners.
Chief, are you concerned that the mother has already bonded out and may reconnect with the child? Anything? She's out on bond. I know a lot of people are.
I don't know what conditions of bond or may be put on her. But of course, it's always a concern if the mother doesn't want to comply with whatever conditions she's released on, that'll be an issue, and, we'll deal with that when it happens.
Can you tell us how old the child is?
13.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Chief, what are some signs that students could look for in other students that may be a cause of concern so that they can talk to their counselor, their teacher, their parents? Can you just give us some signs that these students could look out for?
There are indicators. If you see somebody, if you hear someone saying things that are violent in nature, if you see someone has writings that are violent in nature, that's a good indicator, good predictor that something's amiss, and they need to report that. As we said, if you see something or hear something, you need to report it to whatever authority. If you're in school, report it to the school. They'll work with us. If it's outside of school, report it to the parent. The parent will report it to us if it's a juvenile. But anything that has a connection to violence, whether it's speech or whether it's writings, whether it's drawings, that needs to be reported. So often in the aftermath of a violent event, we hear people saying, well, geez, I knew there was something wrong. I saw that, but I really didn't think anything of it. So it's important to report it. Nobody's going to, anyone you report that to is not going to take it lightly. We will investigate every tip, every allegation that someone may come to us with. So, okay? Thank you.
If the student is released, will he be allowed back on campus?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
If the student is released, will he be allowed back on campus?
That'd be up to the school, SAISD.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.